Paolo Banchero is going to be the next Jason Tatum. It's going to be the next Brandon Ingram, the guy who comes out of Duke, better than the other guys in his draft class. And you know what? Here's what the NBA got right. Fuck this. Jason Tatum and Brandon Ingram crawled so Paolo Banchero could walk, right? Both of these guys went 2-3 when they should have went 1. And now finally Orlando got it right. And it was like, you know what? He's the best player. Not he has the best ceiling, the most potential. No, he's the best player. And he still has room to grow. We're going to take the best player. I remember Tatum's class. I go, Jason Tatum is better than Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball. He is 6'8" and he can score. Like, what are we doing here? The Celtics would have taken him 1 had Philly not been stupid, you know? And then I remember the Ben Simmons versus Brandon Ingram. I go, look, maybe I'm a Duke fan who's just biased, but this man right here, Brandon Ingram, he has a better game than Ben Simmons, and he's gonna gain weight. He's 19 and skinny. I was 19 and skinny. Like, there was this Facebook post I saw yesterday, and I actually reposted it. High school weight versus weight now. I put 155, but I was more like 145, 150. Now I'm 190, and my frame hasn't changed that much. I've just filled out, and I'm not like overweight either. I'm in good shape, chest sticking out, arms looking pretty nice. Stomach ain't flat, but it ain't fat. You know? And you look at Paolo, you go, you know what? He should have went number 1 because he was the best player in the draft. I'm sorry, he's the best player.
I think that he was definitely the most league ready right now. And I know I get it, ceiling, like he's the best, yes, which is what makes him the best player in Orlando. Agree. That's why he went number 1. You know, I'll tell you who he reminds me of.
Okay.
And it's not in a disrespectful way. It's in his size and kind of how he plays. And this player was a good player. And so it's not me saying he's going to be as, you know, his career will be like his, but he reminds me a lot of Danny Granger, oddly enough. Now, I want you to think about when Danny Granger was really good, like before Paul George, and what type of dog he was on the Pacers. Danny Granger was like 6'9", 6'10". I think he was 6'10". And he was kind of like a stretch 4, like him and Rashard Lewis a little bit like, but I would say that Danny was even more of a, you know, Rashard Lewis isn't a bad comp either. I don't think that they play exactly the same.
Nah, Jabari's more Rashard Lewis.
Size and shit, Rashard Lewis would be another one. But Danny Granger in terms of style of play as well. Like,
yeah, Danny Granger was 6'9". And
he made an all-star team, I believe.
I want to look at his best year. Oh, yeah, Danny Granger averaged 25 a game in his 4th year and 24 in his 5th year. And then 20 in his 6th year. That's kind of when Paul George started stepping up. But no, you know, Danny was a problem.
He was a good player. And that's why I'm not trying to say that, oh, you know, he's going to be a one-time all-star. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, in terms of if you look at him in his prime, kind of, I could see that being the consistent him. Well, like, I could easily see something like that.
No, I see Paolo as being a 22, 7, and 3 assist guy. Like, I feel like that's his floor. And,
that sounds good.
I don't know if that's a winning 22, a winning 7, and a winning 3, but I think that's kind of what he is and what he becomes. But I like the Danny Granger thing. That was actually a really good comp. I think that in drafting, I think the smart guys who make the decisions get so caught up into upside and like potential and not going, well, what is he and what can he do for me now? And I was listening to even some media people talk, and they're talking about, you know, I base my draft rankings based on what I see in the playoffs. And it's like, hey, could this guy, fit in a role for a championship team. That's a great media perspective. But when you're a GM, you don't have that luxury. You have to pick the guy who fills seats. People will say that Russell Westbrook has been a disappointment because he does not play championship basketball. But Russell Westbrook, he fills seats, he sells jerseys, and he's been on competitive teams damn near every year of his career. Maybe not championship competitive teams, but you're going to the playoffs.
Always playoff team.
And let me tell you what, if you can get into the playoffs between a 3 and 6 seed regularly as a GM, bro, you'll have a job for 10 years. You get to pull a Sam, you get to pull a Presti and get to rebuild. Like, is Presti really good right now? Like, I'm selling my Presti stock.
We got to find out what they do with all these draft picks. I mean, that's when we're going to figure that out, because he is. But Sam Presti is smart enough and realizes that he's never going to sign a marquee free agent, and without assets, he can't even really trade for anyone marquee. So, like, he knows how to build a team from scratch.
I think he needs to move to a major market to prove what he's actually worth.
I agree. And LeBron gave him that cosign during the All-Star break. I mean, so, like, the Lakers really could have got rid of Rob this offseason too if they wanted to. But because he's a Laker guy, Kobe's agent, they can't just fire him that easy.
I mean, the Lakers, it's going to sound bad. Kobe's passed away. They could fire him.
Right, because Kobe is the person that would care more. I mean, you got Vanessa still alive.
I don't think Jeannie is listening to Vanessa for advice.
Maybe not, but there's that mystique that goes with that stuff. And
I know, man, but
Kobe was a big fan of the move,
Huh?
Kobe was a big fan of the Rob Pelinka hire.
Sure, that's his guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure there was a time where once Kobe retired, he stepped away from going to Lakers games. Then obviously towards these last 2 years, right before COVID, he started showing up a little bit more frequently.
I was at a Lakers game that Kobe was at, and I was in the nosebleed, and you could still feel his energy all the way up at the top of Staples.
He is the most beloved Laker. He's more beloved than Magic.
You think so?
I think he's the most. Yeah, I think he's the most popular Laker.
I think he is now.
Maybe because he died. Maybe that helps.
Well, not just that. His passing, that's part of it. Magic coming and running basketball operations poorly and then leaving the way he did. And then him being the most recent great Laker. Like, LeBron plays for the Lakers. LeBron is not a Laker. He's just on the Lakers.
You know what? It's crazy, though. And I don't know how that will work, but if they're competitive the next 2 years, they don't even have to win another championship, but he stays there for 2 more years, maybe gets that scoring record there, they're going to retire one of those jerseys. I'm going to guess the 23 because that's what he won the championship in.
The Lakers are retiring LeBron. Every team that LeBron has played for will retire his jersey.
For sure. Miami definitely. Cleveland was a foregone conclusion.
He's going to get the Jordan Miami treatment.
You think somebody's going to retire his jersey that he didn't even play for?
LeBron James is the greatest man to play in the NBA.
I mean, I get what you're saying. He's always kept a clean nose, family guy.
Not even just that. He did business right. Even with his bad business that we don't know about, he did it right. He put his guys on. He overachieved despite the high expectations.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that he had the highest expectations of any player ever coming to the NBA, and he lived up to them plus some.
And even with its failures, we could all identify with it. Let's think about this with LeBron in 2011. Which is his biggest, bro, what were you thinking? What happened?
I don't know why people got mad because he fucking did the goddamn show. But even in that, it was all the money from it
charity
was being donated to the Boys and Girls Club that he was at. Kyrie
But
Irving,
hey,
like random stuff like that happened during this night. Like
let's think about something. Have you made the wrong decision under pressure as a professional?
for sure, I've taken out loans like that. I didn't mean to. That if I could go back, I would have changed.
Right. And even though you knew better when you did it, you still messed up. That's LeBron's 2011 season. Like people want to just make it basketball because for us who don't play the NBA, basketball is just a little simple man's game. But we're talking about his livelihood. We're talking about pressure and something that he loves and has committed his life to. I've done some dumb shit at work and I knew better. And it bit me in my ass. And I go, I knew better. Why did I do this? This was not success. This was not the means to success. I knew it wasn't the means to success. I knew the means to success. And I'm experienced enough to not have made this decision. And I still made this bad decision. So that's how I look at LeBron's 2011. You had everything around you to be great, and you just didn't do it for whatever reason. Maybe the pressure got to you, but it happens to everybody.
We needed that LeBron though to be the semi-villain of the league, bro. Like he actually needed that pub. Like that was what he needed. I think he needed that shit. Like it's not what won him a championship because they were gonna win anyways, just because of how talented they were and how well of how well the Heat ran as an organization.
Heat culture.
He had no choice but to fucking go to the finals every year. Like that was kind of a foregone conclusion. They caught the Celtics at the right time. That team was done by that point. They were still very good. They were the vets, but he finally got over that hump. They were down 3-2. I mean, think about it. That second year. They were down 3-2, bro.
He went crazy in Game 6.
If they lost that Game 6, bro, I don't know what that would have done to LeBron's psyche. To be completely honest with you, like,
question for you.
Yeah.
Why does Paul Pierce hate on LeBron like they're peers, but respects Kobe, who is his actual peer, and shitted on him? Like Paul Pierce act like he's in competition with LeBron. Paul, you came in the league in 98. Kobe came in 96. He's your peer. LeBron came in 5 years after you. That's not your peer.
I think it's because of all the moments that LeBron has had, specifically even with the Celtics, to where, and granted, a lot of them happened after Paul was gone. Obviously, you know what I mean. He's had quite a few with Boston afterwards.
I think when Braun retires, he should just have to pay about, I don't know, $1 billion for the Celtics because he owns them.
I think that what it is, Paul Pierce wants to create this idea that the Celtics, that old man team was the bad boy Pistons, and that was like how the Pistons were to Jordan, kind of like, even though Jordan was stuck losing to Boston too. Right.
Yeah.
But when everybody thinks about where Jordan broke through when he beat the Pistons. That was the breakthrough. When they swept them, it was finally the changing of the guard in the NBA. And I think that with LeBron, even though LeBron it's crazy because LeBron had already been to a finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that him getting over that hump and beating a championship caliber team in the East, and I know that they beat the Pistons too. That when the Cavs beat the Pistons that year in the East Finals, like I know that was a championship caliber team.
Oh, my bad. Let me try to pause this real quick because I was looking up the Paul Pierce LeBron beef because there's actually an interesting story behind it, and I found it.
Did they do one of those like YouTube things like on I think they call it. It's not called Details.
I know what you're talking. No,
rewind back shit with the guy, like kind of starting from beginning, beforehand, the present time, and then after what happened.
No, this is it was a story that was told, and here's what Paul Pierce was like. I'm glad social media wasn't out there because I spit at their bench. I probably would have gotten fined. You know, the crazy thing about it was a preseason game. It didn't mean anything. I don't know. Me and LeBron going back and forth. The bench is yelling at something. I look over at the bench and I'm like, that's why y'all on the bench or something. And I spit at them. And I'm not sure I hit somebody or not, but I spit in that direction. Then it just kind of tempers flare. The next thing you know, we was in the hallway about to go down. That's just kind of like the basis of everything. So The LeBron Paul Pierce beef is because Paul Pierce spit at their bench in a preseason game. And if I'm LeBron, I remember reading this, and I just wanted to go back and find it to make sure that I remember correctly. But, dog, you spit at my bench, it's beef forever. It's beef forever.
I don't understand. They're at the same banquet, but they're not sitting at the same table. So, like, to me, I just feel like for him, I get it. It's just because, to me, the Celtics kind of were a thorn in LeBron's. They were a thorn in the Cavaliers.
They were. But if you look at NBA history, they were supposed to because they were ahead of them. They were older. They're at different points.
They only got one ring out of it. I mean, they only went to 2. So it's not like, you know, but that's why the Pistons are such a good comp, I guess, and why he wants to be Isaiah Thomas to Jordan. Because we all know that as good of a point guard as Isaiah Thomas was statistically and what he accomplished and everything, in reality, he is obviously one of the 75, 50, you could even maybe argue 40, 30 best players ever. By resume, if you look at Isaiah Thomas, you could argue it. But at the end of the day, Mr. Jordan did not. It ain't the gap's it's too big. Like they're not the same caliber of dude.
Bro, that's up there with your
aren't the same caliber of dude. Like
no,
Paul Pierce was tier 2, 2000 star. He wasn't. He was good, man. But KG to me, all right. I'm okay with throwing the big ticket in there because
KG's MVP.
He's an MVP and a defensive player. He's one of them few niggas that got them. Like he different. Like KG was different. He was just stuck in fucking purgatory for so long.
Hey, let's be real. Paul Pierce made the NBA 75 because he won a ring and he played for the Celtics. He's not better than McGrady.
McGrady just wasn't healthy enough, man, and that's why
I know. But
for him,
at any point in your life, when we were,
remember this: Paul Pierce salvaged his career too. He was getting buckets with the Wizards. He's okay with the Nets. He was even better with the Wizards, in my opinion. With John Wall,
hey,
bro, he hit that game winner on the Hawks.
The game winner that wasn't a game winner because it was after the buzzer.
Yeah. Well, he called bank.
Hey,
I'm just saying he was
I know.
He was giving them 17. Like
Paul Pierce. No, Paul Pierce is a great NBA player. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He has a 14-year-old's beard, and he should always shave his face before he's seen. But never, ever in 2006 did you watch the NBA and go, "Give me Paul Pierce over McGrady."
I agree, man. I used to pick the Houston Rockets on NBA Live. That was my team. I would take TMAC, Yao. They had Charlie Ward. It was weird to have Charlie Ward. You know how when on NBA Live how they would tell you like a 3-point shooter. Like so when he got the ball, I used to fucking light Justice's ass up with the Houston Rockets. I used to love picking them, bro. At one point when they had Dikembe, so whenever because they would do auto sub, right?
No.
They would get in the game and blocking everything. Like, I think Stromile Swift was on the Rockets. Like,
yeah, stupid bounce.
And he had super bounce. Yeah, man. That used to be my team. I'm with you. I just think that the TMAC is always going to be that he wasn't healthy.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's the same thing with Grant Hill. We wish he would have been healthy. Yeah. TMAC, Grant Hill.
TMAC was a little bit healthier to me than Grant Hill.
He was.
Like people forget, TMAC obviously he was solid with the Raptors before he went to Orlando, where he finally got to have his role.
He started winning them scoring titles.
Motherfucker had Doc Rivers as his coach, dropping 32 a game. And on any given night, he even giving Kobe 38. Like, what I mean?
There used to be the conversation, who's better, T-Mac or Kobe? And that was a real conversation.
It was, but I think it was never a conversation. I think it was always more argued that you had to make the argument for T-Mac, while with Kobe, you never had to make the argument for Kobe because Kobe's accolades.
Kobe is one of the most fortunate NBA stars ever. Is that, he's similar to Magic coming to the league, and he gets the best player in the league as he's figuring out how to become the best player in the league.
And playing for the Lakers helps too.
Right.
Being a part of the golden standard franchise of the NBA.
So besides just the media attention that comes with being on the Lakers, the media push you get is that you're averaging 25 for the Lakers and you win championships. You get 3 championships before you hit your 8-year mark. It's like you're playing with house money now. You're already in the Hall of Fame. So when you start comparing the player, you go, well, TMAC has never been on a championship team. But we're gonna say Kobe is just better because he played with Shaq.
He did play
So
with but
so it's just funny because there's a different pressure, there's a different freedom that you play with. Like,
good quick question, and I saw because
send it.
shout outs to Wayne Hack. Or is his last name Hackney?
Hackney, it's Hackney.
Okay, but he has Wayne Hack on the thing. Nonetheless, shout outs to Wayne for tagging us in this post. Because when we saw the Vince Carter thing, my question is this. Now, if VC was the one that went to Orlando and T-Mac stayed in Toronto, but then he eventually is the player that gets traded to New Jersey, how do you think that plays out if T-Mac plays with Jason
Kidd and Kenyon Martin?
And Richard Jefferson?
I think they're a better team.
Do you think, especially because that obviously VC went there after the 2 finals appearances, and that was them.
No, he went to one, didn't he?
He wasn't on either of those teams. It was like literally the year after is when he got there. Because think about how Jason Kidd got to New Jersey. They traded Jason Kidd for Stephon Marbury.
That's a smart move.
It was. It's a great move. It's a great move.
I think that I hold T-Mac in a really high regard because I see the way other NBA players talk about him. And there's a level of respect that T-Mac has amongst guys who played against him. He scored 11 points in 50 seconds.
Yeah.
That was real. That happened.
Yeah, against the San Antonio Spurs.
And I'm on his Wikipedia right now. He had two scoring championships. You know what I'm saying? Like you start looking at, and he played baseball, which I did not know that. But look, man averaged 32 a game in the league, 28 in the league. So from his first season in Orlando, he started going crazy. 26.8, 25.6, 32.1, 28. Then he comes to Houston, 25.7, 24.4, 24.6. Then he dropped to 21.6 to 15.6 to 3. That's when he was hurt. Then he goes to the Knicks and it's over with. Average 9. Like,
he was finished at that point.
Yeah, but the injuries kicked his ass. But the point being is that T-Mac was that guy. Can we get to our plan topics? I mean, shit, we 30 minutes.
Know. Well, it's just, the draft. It just leads you down this rabbit hole. But
it does.
Pick this thing off.
So, what does it mean to be the GOAT? We have these conversations, and more in 2022, we want to talk about, oh, he's a GOAT, he's a GOAT, he's a GOAT. And when I hear those sentences, I go, throw that shit away, because you can't be a GOAT. You can only be the GOAT. Because GOAT stands for greatest of all time. You can't be a greatest of all time. You have to be the greatest of all time. You're either the greatest or you're not. And we were having a conversation in a group text. For somebody who now lives rent-free in my head, you can join Pops and some of the others who was like, Steph deserves to be in the GOAT conversation. I was like, no, he doesn't.
It was an asinine comment.
And it was like, well, look at all these different publications who were putting him top 10. I go, okay, you can put him top 10. But it's something about the top 3 and then the rest. If you've ever been to the club, you'll see that there's a bunch of sections and there's a bunch of tables. But then there's always like that 1 or 2 sections. The yada mean sections. And them sections, they hit different. It's an extra couch up there. It's a little bit more space up there. Your bartender don't leave. She just has another bartender fill your orders. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little bit different. It's one thing to have a girl who's bouncing around to all the other sections to when you have yours who only worked for you that whole night. That's the GOAT conversation. That's the section behind the DJ booth.
That's what I was just about to say, nigga.
You know what I'm saying?
You're the DJ in your section.
Right. Like, you can have that nice section over there. Oh, it's big, a bunch of space. You got them coming through. But when you buy.
Now, I was going to say, check this out. My shit's on the aux. Nigga,
Yeah.
I'm actually the one DJing tonight.
Yeah. Like, I'm walking down here and I'm telling Greg Street, hey, play this.
And
you want to hear this?
He's getting out of his playlist and he's playing what I want.
Yeah.
Then he'll go back to his playlist as long as I don't have another request.
That's the GOAT conversation. And when I think about the GOAT conversation, the only people who I think are allowed to come in that section, LeBron, MJ, Kobe, Kareem. I don't let anybody else there. Don't talk to me about Bill Russell. Don't talk to me about Karl Malone. Don't talk to me about Steph Curry. Don't talk to me about Kevin Durant. Don't talk to me about Larry Bird. Don't talk to me about Hakeem. Don't talk to me about these guys.
What about Magic?
We might let Magic in on a Tuesday, but if it's a busy night Saturday, sorry, Magic, we're booked. MJ's here.
Nigga said, sorry, Magic, but we got you next time.
Exactly. No, sometimes Magic can get to section on Thursday. Friday, Saturday, that's up there for Bron, MJ, Kobe, and Kareem, even if they don't want to come. If Rich want to come, you know what I'm saying, or Mav want to come, or Pelinka want to get the section for the night, they can get it before Magic just because of who we know who paying the bill.
Right.
Sorry, Magic. You right there, but
I think in Magic, you want to know what? The four things that those guys have in common that you did name, and I guess Jordan actually is kind of the outlier in a sense of this. They all had long careers where they were pretty much healthy their entire careers. Obviously, they're all champions, multiple, minimum 4-time over champions, MVP. They're at least an MVP because Kobe's got the least MVPs of that group. But like,
he has the influence and the respect that goes further than.
And then he's got all the other. It doesn't matter. I tell you what, if that's the one thing he lacks, he's got everything else, literally.
Yeah.
So, everybody lacks something. You know what I mean? Because nobody's perfect. Even though I guess most people want to throw Jordan in, but like Magic, like Jordan, Magic's career was cut shorter. Jordan could have played longer, obviously, and but it could have also helped the idea that he took those years off. And then
it definitely helped. Come on now, you take 2 years off, you come back recharged. You watched The Last Dance, and I went back and watched some of them games in '98. I tell you what, that first step wasn't what it was in '88. It wasn't close. Well, he lived on the free throw line.
Him going in and putting it on your head, he's not crossing the shit out of nobody either. But he's
getting fouled.
Well, he's getting fouled, but he's that mid range.
Yeah,
that nigga didn't miss. That
mid range of fouls.
Have you ever seen Michael Jordan take a bad shot as a Bull? I know most highlights are going to be nothing but his good stuff. But even if you go back and look, has Jordan taken a bad shot? Like Kobe has taken a bad shot. We know this.
I think that's the difference between Michael and Kobe, is that Michael didn't take bad shots often, and Kobe took a lot of bad shots, but Kobe got great at making bad shots. And let me talk to you about my 30-year-old pickup game, right? There are certain bad shots that I take because I take them all the time. It's like, hey, if I get to this spot, I'm shooting. Defense don't matter. My feet don't matter. My shoulders don't matter. If I can get to this spot and I get like a inch of separation, I'm gonna shoot the shot. And I'm pretty sure you, as a hooper, you got certain spots on the court you're so comfortable with that you can shoot that shot. The defense can be in your face. You can miss it, and somebody go good defense, and you like, bro, that wasn't good fucking defense. I just missed. He didn't affect my like. Don't tell him he played good defense because that was not good defense. Because he let me get to where I wanted to get to. I just missed.
You know the side glass shot? Where you're about, from the baseline, you'd probably be at about a 30-degree angle.
Yeah, I know you're at. You're
about 30. That was one of my bad shots in the sense of if I was dribbling, I'm able to get enough separation to where I could almost run to the side and shoot it and make it. It's a bad shot because you're kind of on the run shooting it. But God damn it, did it used to go in so fucking much. Because as long as you hit that bank right there, it's automatic.
You know the Kobe
will always got you.
You know the Kobe short corner fadeaway?
Oh my God. But he used to make it so fucking much. But he used to pull the ball from his fucking ankle sometimes and just.
So that's one of my grown man shots that's in my repertoire that I'm gonna kill Justice with, okay?
I can't. I'm
gonna take him to that short corner, and look for that shot post up, old school, right?
By the way, no, not to cut you off. I'm so sorry, but by the way, that is something that we must set up for a certain someone's bachelor party. There needs to be a basketball goal there so that we can finally get this game going.
I think we'll get the game
when we do the drafting and we play.
I'm pretty sure we'll get the game before that. Like, I need to get it before that. I can't wait that long.
All of us being together.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You're right. But
because we had this conversation before where we said, as a locker room, we need to do this. Because we've been talking about it for years. Like, Matt was brought up because of Matt's height, and I'm like, I would beat Matt in the game of basketball, though, because I know that Matt's not good at basketball.
And Matt's too skinny.
Right, and now even for me, my game has changed a little because I have packed on weight. Like this would be the heaviest I've certainly ever. I mean, I've played obviously, but I can give you 2 really good games.
Probably Pete.
Pooped, but like I can give you two games to 12.
Probably Pete. I love being 190 now because in my frame I don't look 190, and people who are like 160 will guard me, and them 30 pounds. Oh my God, it's like, hey, back up, little boy. Come here. I know you got muscles. I got stomach. I got beer. Come here. Come get on this hip.
All right.
Bro, you just gonna go left every time.
And you're still athletic enough to do a lot of the things that you were able to do when you were smaller, but now with the weight, maybe you're not jumping as high.
No, I'm not jumping as high.
But you're still, if it's a rebound that you need to get and you got a nigga on you that's, fucking Bolo from Enter the Dragon, you're gonna be able to jump high enough to tip that ball and make a play.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can still grab boards.
You're gonna be able to do that.
I can't dunk like I used to. Like I used to go walk into a gym and dunk. Now I gotta be warmed up, stretched, having a good day. But I don't dunk no more though. I'm too old for that. For what? Anyways, let's get back. So what does it mean to be a GOAT, right? Because when I think about the GOAT conversation, I think about eye test. I think about your offensive game. Are there multiple layers to it? I think about your defensive game. You don't have to be a great defender, but is there something about your defense that sticks out? Are you a liability? No? Okay, cool. I think about accomplishments. What are your awards? All NBAs, All-Stars, MVPs, All Defense,
postseason awards.
Then postseason awards. You have chips. Do you have Finals MVPs? I think about that, and then I also think about cultural relevance. I think about what did the people who wrote about you say about you when you played but also what do the people say about you after you've left the game, you know?
What does the generation after you feel about you? And I think that hold on. I think that got a fly running around here.
And how much did you win? Winning matters too. We got to talk about the winning.
Yeah, for sure. How competitive were you? Did you because not to switch gears and put it into football because this isn't somebody that's considered a GOAT, but you look at somebody like Eli Manning, his postseason runs were literally the years he won the title. Outside of that, Eli Manning wasn't making the playoffs every year, playing in the divisional playoffs, a couple of NFC championships. He wasn't doing that. His runs were strictly the years that he won the Super Bowl.
Bro, similar to Allen Iverson, bro. His run was his finals run.
Bro. Yeah, that was it. But he wasn't a guy that was in the East Finals every year. He wasn't even in the fucking division. Like typically, the Sixers were getting bounced in the first round.
He wasn't Jimmy, but he doesn't have Jimmy Butler's playoff resume.
For the longest, think about Vince Carter was another one. Yeah. Raptors were getting bounced in the first fucking round every year. Like every year they were losing in the first round. You know? Like I'll give Paul Pierce this because a lot of people forget. But like the Celtics made it to the East Finals with him and Antoine Walker. They did. They lost in the Nets, I believe. Yeah.
Early 2000s. Yeah, they made it win.
They went. Pacers.
Tony Belk and them.
Pacers were Reggie Miller, for his credit, was somebody that not only took on Jordan in the East Finals, but even on the back end of his career, he was going against Detroit in the East Finals. They went to the finals, obviously, the first year the Lakers won, played the Lakers in the finals. Like, this was a guy that every year you could bank on being a second-round team, no matter what.
Ron Artest robbed Reggie Miller of his ring. That 05 team was stacked. Huh?
Him and Steven Jackson.
You know what's crazy about Malice at the Palace? The players got blamed for fans throwing shit at them. And we were okay with that as a society.
But it changed the course of basketball. Not to compare it to 9/11, but think about how security.
It's basketball's 9/11.
Think about how security changed, TSA, all this stuff changed so much after 9/11. With the NBA, everything changed. It was, I remember going to Hawks games or anything. They take your tops away now. You can't have a soda top anymore, or a top of any beverage that has a top. Yeah. They take it away.
Think about
how security is placed.
Think about how the game's officiated. If it's starting to get a little bit heated, they calm it down. If fans get too drunk, talking too much shit, too close to the court, they get kicked out.
And then we might even not only will we take you out for suspend you for a year, like you can't come to the game for a year. It might even be gone forever.
Hey, Charlotte got Jalen Durant. I like that.
Who did he play for?
Big man out of Memphis.
I didn't watch no Memphis ball, man.
From what I hear, he's a DeAndre Jordan type.
I see, because I don't know, because you got it on the screen, right?
I'm just on ESPN.com.
Okay, I got it on the screen here. Cleveland's up. They're picking right now. Interested to see what they do because this could tell you a lot about what they're going to do because they got a couple of different free agents. I know we're all over the place because we got the draft on live, but like for instance, if they were to draft a guard here, it would tell me that they're going to let Colin go.
What would you say if the Hawks go draft AJ Griffin out of Duke, a guard? I mean, a wing, a 6'6" wing who is supposed to be a 3-and-D scorer.
I feel like they've got so many wings. They need a glue guy, oddly enough. And I have no idea where they have.
They need a big. I think they need a big man.
Who I would like, whether they've got to trade down or whatever it is. You want to know who I would really like for them to get? They really need another ball handler too. That's really kind of something the Hawks need. But an enforcer / this guy, but he's got natural instincts. Somebody I'd really like them to get. Man, Ron Harper Jr. Low key.
Haven't watched him.
He was fucking willing Rutgers, bro. Like he Rutgers ain't no basketball school. Like,
not their men's team. They women's team got the nappy headed hoes.
According to Don Imus, yeah.
Um,
But he would be a guy I'd like. He's thick. He's a guard. He's like 6'6". He's kind of Draymond-esque, like, but he's better. Like in terms of offensive game, he's way better than Draymond. But like, I don't know. He would be that type of guy. He'd be.
I think Sharif is supposed to be Trey's backup.
Yeah, Cooper. I don't know
Yeah,
why I'm thinking of O'Neal. I'm like, oh man.
No. I'm talking Sharif Cooper, because he was 21-9 at Auburn. He's a small guard, can't guard anybody, but I think he's supposed to be a step. So let's circle back to this GOAT thing last time. What does a GOAT look like to you? Because again, I think Steph is great, and I think Steph can move.
They drafted a guard, by the way.
Collins out of there. I think Steph can move.
No, hold on, my bad. They drafted Abaji out of Kansas. He was their guy at Kansas when they just won the national championship. He's their guy. He was literally their best player. He's 6'5" and 3, so basically 6'6". Yeah, hell yeah, Collins out of there.
Yeah. I think that man, fuck this shit. When is the player's legacy set in stone? Okay, and I ask this question because with the Warriors winning a championship and Kevin Durant not being there, and then the turmoil going on in Golden State, in Brooklyn, people are starting to question Kevin Durant, his judgment and stuff like this. And then somebody said, Kevin Durant's a top 20 player. His legacy is set in stone. And I go, how is your legacy set in stone when you're still playing? I get that you can say that, hey, here's his floor. He will not be worse than top 20 based on what he's done. But you can't tell me he can't become top 15, top 10, top 5 GOAT if he goes on a 3 or 4 finals win streak before he gets out of here.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I don't think that players' legacies can be set until their careers are pretty much done. Once they're at the twilight of their career, these guys are still in their primes. Like LeBron would be an example of a player who, yes, he can improve it, but in reality, for the most part, the only thing that he can do to make his legacy any better than what it is if he does win more titles. There's nothing else he can do. Many do perceive him to be the GOAT. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he has a set legacy. Mm-hmm. Legacies are more built, especially based on what just happened with the Warriors. Those things are built on teams. Teams, to me, can have a set legacy. This Warriors era of guys, Iggy, Clay, Steph, Dre, Kirk. That's a set legacy. Them guys, that legacy is set. Now, can they improve it by winning more titles? Sure. Then you start talking about, well, who's the greatest dynasty? Like, what is the best dynasty in NBA history?
Bill Russell's
1966 Celtics?
Yeah.
Okay. And let me guess, the best back-to-back champs in the NFL were the Green Bay Packers, right? Because they kicked the whole thing off with 2 in a row. So, no, man. No, definitely not. But they can be put into that conversation of, as a group, this era of Warriors set.
You know what? I got something for you. I think that teams get too much credit. Players get too much credit with their legacies for the actions of good front offices.
Do you give Bob Meyer?
Yeah.
When did Bob get there is the question. Did he draft Steph?
Let me do some homework.
Let me see. I'm looking it up. Bob has been...
I know he fired Mark Jackson and brought in Steve Kerr.
He's the assistant GM in 2011. When did he take over? Hold on. Okay, so he's been the GM since 2012. So,
when did Steph get drafted? 2009?
Yeah, he was drafted in 2009. And I think Clay was
11.
Yeah, so that would mean he didn't draft either of those guys. Dre, when did Dre come? Was Dre the same year as Clay, but just the second round?
Uh, maybe
I feel like it was, or maybe he came. Maybe he is one of Bob's picks.
next year, 2012. He's
Okay, so
2012.
he is one of Bob's picks. So that's one of Bob's picks. When did Monte Ellis leave? Was that 2011 too?
Keep talking, and I'll find it.
It. I'm just trying to see how the team was built because
You're
I
trying
know
to see how many moves he actually made
as
versus
the head guy. Yeah.
Monte Ellis. Let me see. Yeah, he left Golden State in 2012. That was the Bogut trade.
So they trade. Yeah, I know they got Bogut because you're right. He went to the Bucks. That whole fear of the deer shit. Because I remember they played the Hawks in the first round one year. But okay, so he draft these guys. I feel like the table was set a little.
The table was set for Bob Myers, but we got to give him credit because he was the assistant GM while he was there, and he's a former agent, so he didn't allow his relationships. Oh my goodness.
What?
Fucking the Hornets got Mark Williams out of Duke. Big man, 6'10", 242. I was really hoping that he was going to be there for the Hawks so we could move off of Capella and create some more cap space. Because if we would have drafted him, that would have been the or that could have been the Ayton replacement for the Suns. But anyways, so I got to give Bob Myers credit, especially for this year. Him going against what Steph and Clay and Dre wanted. They wanted to get rid of the young guys to bring in vets, and he stood and he's like, no, I'm going to be here for 10 years. I want young players who are good. We're not going to go the LeBron route and scorch earth. And then once y'all are gone, I'm stuck with nothing and I'm fired in 3 years.
Right.
Hiring Steve Kerr. That matters, you know, because Mark Jackson didn't do anything to get fired. The team was progressing, but with him having church in the locker room and all that stuff, it's like, hey, bro, hey, yo, we like Mark Jackson, the guy, but nah, bro, you gotta get this man up out of here.
He avoided a team running through a phase and letting it peak at what it already was going to peak at. Because think about it, Golden State, they made it to the second round, right? The year that they fired Mark. Who did they lose to? They didn't lose to the Clippers. They played 1 year. They took
maybe
1 year they took the Spurs 7, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? I remember them playing the Spurs one of those years, and then another one. I thought they made it to the second round. I just don't remember who they lost to because the Clippers beat the Spurs 1 year in the first round too. But I know that the Clippers didn't play the Warriors in the second round because the Clippers had never been to a Western Conference Finals. But the Clippers, okay, one of the years the Clippers beat the Warriors, I'm almost certain, in the first round. But then there was another year where the Warriors did make it to the second round, and maybe it wasn't Memphis. It was somebody, man.
Oh man, but look, Mark. Here's the thing, though. Mark Jackson did stuff that got him fired. I'm on his Wikipedia page, and sorry to tear down a black man, but it's public knowledge. Jackson's time as the Warriors head coach was marred by allegations of intense religious rhetoric and homophobia. Jackson had reportedly ranted about 2 staff members who were openly gay. Hey, dog, you can't be in the Bay Area forcing everybody to be Christian and shitting on gay people. That's just not going to work for you up there, bro. You got to go to the South, and you may be able to get that off, depending on the city, because these Southern metropolitans ain't having it either. Well, I just think I do this Mark Jackson thing anytime his name comes up. I listen to him talk basketball. He's stuck in the 90s. And dog, I'm a Christian. I love God. I go to church. And I understand I have a certain responsibility to bring other people to God. But I also know that some people don't want to hear that shit. And I'm not going to come to work saying, Hey, man, I was reading the Bible yesterday, man. You want to check out the scripture? Let's talk about it. Hey, you guys want to come to church with me? No, like, everybody don't want to do that.
Right.
And that's what Mark Jackson was doing. And not only does that alienate the people on your team who don't have those beliefs, but it also develops a reputation to where people be like, "Hey, bro, man, this nigga keep talking about church, man. Come on, bro, we ain't trying to hear that right now."
Right, motherfucker. It's not Sunday, nigga. Like,
yeah, you out here saying
it's your lifestyle, dog, but that's not this team's identity.
But he got caught up with the hooker.
And then stuff like that too, when you start,
Yeah, bro, don't be holier than thou, and then you still out here living like us. Like them, not us, not me. I don't live like that.
Me neither. I
go home to my wife.
I couldn't tell you where a fucking brothel is.
Man, you live in Atlanta. It's right down the street.
Hey.
Magic City Mondays.
They're sex workers. And more importantly, it's an acrobatic show. I don't think they're selling pee in there. How about that?
The Hawks just drafted AJ Griffin, another wing.
The guy at Duke, though, right?
Yeah, I like him.
I like it.
That tells me my boy from UVA, he's on the clock, buddy.
Well, it gives them flexibility to where they can deal him to a degree. But, man, back-to-back year of Duke wings.
They're not going to re-sign him. They're gonna let him go. They're gonna move him like they moved Cam Reddish. They're not gonna re-sign him. That's all they're doing.
I mean, look at all these Duke guys though, like Jalen Johnson, AJ Griffin, like you said, Cam.
I'm a Duke fan, so I'm not complaining.
I have a thing towards Duke. I think recently it's been a lot better. And
this is not your dad's Duke.
Other guys in the 90s too, but I guess it was that period from JJ Redick. First of all, Sheldon Williams, he's like one of the first people I think of when we drafted him. We were actually, funny enough, me, Justice, Jordan, and Colin were at that Hawks draft party the night that they drafted Sheldon Williams. I still have the program too.
That's a bad draft pick.
Tell me about it. I mean, he's more known for fucking Candace
Parker's baby daddy.
Yeah. Even though she must have not been too.
Hey. Her life changed.
Isn't she married?
Huh?
Isn't she married?
She's married to a woman, and they had a kid.
Uh-huh.
And I think I think she took a role that was different from her first marriage, but she can do that, and if she's happy, I'm happy.
I totally agree. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, obviously, this guy Sheldon was losing on and off the court.
You want to hear something? We took Sheldon Williams 5 in that draft.
Yeah, he's 5th. Yeah.
Over Brandon Roy, which I would have taken the Brandon Roy years.
Mm-hmm.
Over Rudy Gay. Mm-hmm. Hell, over JJ Redick.
That was the person that we thought. We were like, the Hawks need JJ Redick.
Let's see. Thabo Cephalosha, no, I'm good. Ronnie Brewer, hell no. He was still.
Well, you ended up getting Thabo Cephalosha anyways.
Yeah. We left. Rajon Rondo was in this draft. Kyle Lowry was in this draft. Shannon Brown was in this draft. PJ Tucker was in this draft. Paul Millsap, we ended up getting him later on, but he went 47. Ryan Hollins, my guy. You remember Ryan Hollins was like watching my story all crazy at one point?
Yeah.
But no, I just throw it out there because Sheldon Williams, I was a Duke fan then. He fouled out a little bit too much for me. And I go, he's a undersized big. He's a 6'9" center. Back then in 05, 06. No, get this man out of here.
I just didn't think it was a good pick. I mean, they already had fucked up with Marvin Williams, obviously. Everybody knows them passing CP3 might have been like, or Darren Williams. I mean,
I'm about to say, like, let's just kill him for passing Darren Williams. Like, CP3 was.
You knew how good he was at Illinois.
Yeah, right. CP3 was nice, but CP3 is also 6 foot 175. Like CP3 is smaller than me right now. He just got an
There was
ass.
such a glaring need at point guard. And you drafted not only that, but that UNC team won the national title, but Marvin Williams was sixth man. He wasn't even a fucking starter on his own.
What he went over started. Were those the Danny Ferry years?
For the Hawks,
Yeah.
he wasn't there yet. I don't believe.
Oh man. You know what? We're gonna skip over this. No, we're not. Ja and Draymond been talking shit on Twitter, and I think we're gonna keep this one quick. But if you a shit talker, the result don't always matter. I'm gonna get my shit off. And like we talked about it in pre-production, there are people who have said some things to me in my life over 10 years ago. And I remember when people be say like, oh, I live rent-free in your head, but a lot of people live rent-free up here. Like, I promise you, if you ever get evicted, you can, it's space up here for you. I got a bed set aside for you because you just said some stuff that I thought was disrespectful. And what did MJ say about Isaiah Thomas? I took that personal.
Right.
And I took that personal. So when Jaren Jackson put out his tweet about strength in numbers, he was talking about Iggy. It wasn't just about the Warriors. He don't give a damn about Clay and Steph. He don't know them. Iggy was in their building. Well, Iggy was supposed to be in their building, and he was just chilling. He was just chilling at home like, hey, bro, get me out of here.
He was damn near a deadbeat vet, if that makes any sense.
Now, he was a deadbeat vet.
He was
supposed to be the OG. He wasn't OGing.
And that was the reason they were okay with bringing him there. They were like, this will be good for our team. And he was like, nah, bro, I'm straight on it. He's like, y'all got that. Y'all. He looked at I don't even know who the GM of the Grizzlies is, but y'all take care of them kids.
Right. And but think about it, because he just came from Miami, who was a contender, and he felt like Memphis.
He went there, right? Because he went semi-ring chasing, but he also had kind of a role, I guess.
And the thing is, though, Memphis was a contender. They didn't get to the conference finals because of where they were in the bracket, but they took Golden State to 6, and Ja got hurt. You know what I mean? Hey, that's gonna be the new budding rivalry of like people who aren't in the same age bracket, but like they're the young boys who is like, hey, nah, bro.
To where, yes, they're gonna eventually get over that hump. They should.
Because, man, look, outside of Josh saying the money ain't gonna change him, that didn't sit right with me, bro. The money should change you. It should definitely change you.
You don't change. Values might not change, but
no,
everything else is fucking gonna change.
Core values don't change, but like think about the liquor we drank when we first met, and think about what we drink now. We wouldn't drink that shit no more.
I look back at the tailgate for the Georgia game, and
bro, we had a keg of Bud Light. I would never.
You wouldn't catch me dead even picking that up to bring to somebody's house. And it's supposed to be like a frat type party.
I would drink Mickey Ultra. Like, I would still drink.
Only one. No, my daddy like me. Don't. Coors okay too.
Coors and Coors Light.
Coors. No Budweiser. Yes, no Budweiser.
You know, as big of a Budweiser guy that I've been for years, I've slowed down. I don't really drink it. Like when my mom gets the beer, she goes, "What do you want?" And now she knows to get me Mickey Ultra or the Mickey Ultra seltzers.
I need something light. If I'm gonna drink like that type of beer, it needs to be light. I can do Bud Light Lime. I like Bud Light Lime, but I always do.
That shit's good.
Yeah, I can do Bud Light Lime. Bud Light Lime, Mickey Ultras, Coors Light. And that's where the buck stops for me. I can't do anything else. I'm not drinking fucking Ice House, okay? And Ice House isn't even fucking terrible, but I'm not picking that up. Like,
bro, I remember we were in college, and one of my guys, I won't say his name, he was having beer pong at his crib. And he was like, "Yeah, bro, I just got this 30-pack of Milwaukee's Best for like $12." I said, "Bro, I'm not drinking that shit."
Well, more importantly, it's like, motherfucker, I don't see Stone Cold Steve Austin anywhere in here. All right. I don't see Stone Cold on the turnbuckle waving his hands. What is this doing here? Think about it. Steve, and I'm sure that Stone Cold was, because he said, I think I remember seeing something saying he would drink those beers, but for the most part, even if you look at it, he
He's
was
pouring
pouring
them
it
out.
on himself. He was pouring it on himself. Either that or when he
Hey, bro, he was like this.
away. Yeah, he wasn't. I bet if Stone Cold went to each turnbuckle and he got 3 beers per turnbuckle, so that's a 12-pack. Steve might have drank 2 of those beers in that whole time. 10 of them beers were over his shirt and in the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Vince McMahon, when he would stunner him, give him a beer, Vince only took a sip. I mean, shit. Don't nobody want to drink that bullshit. But it was Steve's character, so it fit. No way.
Yeah. But no, what you're saying is exactly where I've come with my beer. How do we get on beer?
Well, we were talking about, obviously, how Ja and the Grizzlies can be that new, the young guys getting after the old guys because of Iggy. Oh, is that, of course.
Well, yeah, look, 420.
Yeah, a little sweet water.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got to beer from there, but that's what we were on.
So the people who are mad about Ja talking shit, like, because Rosillo, he went on a little rant, and Steve Cerruti, who is his producer, who should stay a producer and turn his mic off, was talking about how you lost. Like, they're pretty much like, you lost, so you guys should shut up. And I go, that's not how this shit works. If you a shit talker and you like that, you care about winning, obviously. But when you did your part and the people across from you respect what you did and they like the result, because, bro, you done been on a team with some bums and you got busy and the niggas who used, like, I tell you a story, funny story. I was in San Diego, right? I was playing in this men's league game and I went crazy on these guys. And after the game, one of the dudes was like, "Dang, bro, you need some help, man. You want to play with us?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Yeah.
Because I was getting my points. I was talking my trash, playing a little defense. But game recognized game. And so, like, when you understand that, you understand the trash talking is not just about winning and losing. Because I think there are groups of people who just equate sports to winning and losing. And bare bones, that's that, right? My best football game ever, I had 2 picks and a forced fumble, and we lost 21-12. Was it my fault we lost 21-12? The score was 14-0 when I got in the game. I didn't play the first quarter. I came in on some injury shit. So I did that in 3 quarters. Did I set my team up to win? Yeah.
You certainly did your part.
Yeah, and they got caused 2 turnovers, and somebody who played at Alabama couldn't score enough touchdowns that day. Not my fault.
Is that a BS?
There was some bullshit out there.
No, being the initials of said Alabama player.
You know what? There was also a 5-star on that same team who played at Georgia. They only gave us 12 points that day, and I gave them 2 turnovers.
Yeah, but you didn't answer my question. Was that person's initials BS that played at Alabama?
I mean, there's a lot of guys who played at Alabama. They've had some great players, and Blake Sims, that's my guy. Great quarterback. Best quarterback I've ever played with.
I didn't think you were gonna name him.
Fuck that. Nah, Blake was a quarterback. He was a sophomore. He wasn't Blake yet. He was on his way.
He's still raw.
He was raw, and I run it
already good.
But here's the thing though, our running back was Richard Samuel. I don't know if you remember the name, but he was a 5-star. You remember that little magazine we would have at our high schools? Did y'all have that little magazine, little Georgia sports
I
magazine?
know what you're talking about, but we didn't have it at our school. No.
So he was
We
like,
would get on
so
blogs. We would get on blogs, like get online, and like obviously Max Prep. Like, but
so
for me, I played football 1 year, so like I
yeah,
was
yeah, you went a football guy.
I was a basketball guy. Yeah.
So yeah, but like nah, our running back that same year, he got a cover story on the magazine. Called him a transformer. He looked like one ugly ass nigga. Um, but nah, he was 6'2", 205,
Good
44.
size running back.
Huh?
He's a running back.
Yeah.
That's a good size running back.
And he ran 4'4" too.
Where did he?
He huh?
Where did he go?
He went to Georgia.
Oh, what's
He
his name?
showed Richard Samuel. He showed some flashes.
You know what? No, that name sounds familiar. He was there. So he was there when
No Sean. Post No Sean is when he really started getting his burn. He played with Caleb King and Crowell.
Okay. I was about to say that's exactly what I was about to name. I'm like, okay. And Georgia's always used, even when No Sean was there and he was getting 20 to 20 plus carries, there would be two guys get 5, 6, 7.
He had a bad case of fumbleitis, and I used to tell people this back when we were in high school, and they thought I was a hater. I was like, he don't have the lateral speed that you want. Like downhill, he got it.
At 6'2", he should.
If you get in front of him, you probably get ran over.
Yeah. He invites contact.
Right. But I was like, I practice against him, and I see that, yeah, bro, you're running me over because I'm 145, and I can't hit you in your ankles because if I hit you in your legs, I'm going to get in trouble in practice. I have to hit you up high where physics says I'm going to lose every time.
Yeah. But
if I'm meeting you, we're at a good point. The corner at Florida, who's at your level or maybe better, he's gonna tackle you because he can actually hit you in your shins because it's not practice. And I would tell people that shit, and they were like, "Nah, bro, he gonna beat it." I'm like, "No, like he has 5-star numbers. He has 5-star traits, but he can't juke. He has no wiggle at all. It's all straight. That shit don't work."
Well, I'll tell you a quote. This coming from a guy that went to Georgia that said this: "Ball security is job security."
Yeah, when he had fumbleitis, bro, they turned him into a fullback.
Ball security is job security.
Who'd you get that from?
Alex Durant. He didn't.
I know that.
Year, but he's a white guy that Justice. Funny enough, Justice went to high school with him.
I mean, it's a big thing that I think Nick Wright says it a lot too. But anyways,
ball security in football, like,
and I know
we're so off topic, but like when you think about running backs in the NFL and guys that have fumbling problems, like, and where they ended up going, they didn't last very long because if you fumble in the fucking football, you're not in the game, bro. Like,
bro, Tiki's the one who figured it out.
Tiki was also, you could argue that Tiki Barber probably doesn't get his due credit for how good he actually was. Tiki Barber was like Marshall Faulk light. And honestly, it might be disrespectful to call him Marshall Faulk light.
To Marshall Faulk, sure.
I'm just saying. I mean, yeah, he wasn't giving you 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving, but what he was doing was like Tiki led. If he didn't lead the NFL in rushing, he led the NFC in rushing 1 year. Like,
all right, so
1,500 yards and then like 700 yards receiving.
So he had 1 first-team All-Pro, 3 Pro Bowls. For his career, 10,449 rushing yards, averaging 4.7 yards per carry.
That's rushing. Over an 8 or 9 year career, right?
He played from 97 to 06.
So
I don't know about his career was that short. 9 years.
Well, he retired early. Just ran because he retired the year before they won it all.
Yeah, he did, and they gave him that bullshit ring.
Yeah.
He averaged 4.7 per carry, 55 rushing touchdowns, 586 receptions, 5,183 yards, and 12 receiving touchdowns.
If he had kept playing, he would be in the Hall of Fame. Because he probably maybe would have got you. Because at year 9, yes, the tread was there. But his last year, what was his last year like?
Let me not respond to your brother in the group text and get to his statistics. His last year, he had 1,600 yards rushing.
That's what I'm saying. So
5.1 per carry.
I think he gives you 2 more Pro Bowls.
5 tubs receiving, 465 yards on 58 receptions, average of 8, no touchdowns.
From 2002,
and he lost 1 fumble.
From 02 to 06, Tiki Barber was easily a top 5 running back.
Nah, he was a monster.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 02, 1,400, 03, 1,200, 04, 1,500, 05, 1,800, 06, 1,600. That's just on the ground.
Yeah.
So do we put him in the Hall of Fame because of his? Huh?
Absolutely not.
Nah, Fred Taylor can't get to the Hall of Fame. Tiki doesn't even need to talk about it.
Right. You know what's crazier? And we all know he's a Hall of Famer, and I guess it's because of how his career ran. But people really be talking down on Frank Gore. And, like, I get it because it's like you never could say Frank Gore was ever the best running back in the NFL. He never was. I can't name a year where I thought Frank Gore was the best running back in the NFL.
He was top 3 a lot, though.
For a lot of those years before they got good with Harbaugh, he was really what kept them relevant. When they would have a 7-9, 8-8 season, even though they dwindled between 4-12 and 6-10, because they had guys like Tim Rattay being the quarterback, but like
Ken Dorsey,
basically everything post Garcia to when Alex Smith clicked finally.
You know what?
Like 3-4 years to become like.
Hey, but here's what hurts him. He was only second team All-Pro once, and he has 5 Pro Bowls. But he made the All-Decade team.
All-time in rushing, and I get it,
All-Decade team.
But he's still third all-time in rushing. There's just no way you don't put the third all-time rusher in.
I'm with you.
He probably should be first ballot.
He has 16,000 total rushing yards on 4.3 per carry. He's played the most games as a running back in league history. 81 rushing yards. Shit, he got 484 receptions for 3,985 yards and 18 touchdowns. But some would say he just has these longevity numbers, and the Hall of Fame is not about longevity. It's about how great were you. But I think that both should matter, and you should not knock somebody because they were consistently good for a long period of time. I still think that becomes great.
He wasn't, and that's kind of why I said what I said. I was like, he was never the best running back in the NFL, ever. Like as much as people don't want to believe this because he won MVP, at the end of the day, MVPs matter, and you can go ahead and cue it up. At the end of the day, Matt Ryan was the best quarterback in the NFL 1 year of his career.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Historically great offense.
And you knew it was coming. Everybody knew that was coming because I had to get my Falcon take in. And since we kind of are talking a little NFL,
we were at hour 13 in, and that was our first Falcon steak. That might be a record.
Because we don't really, outside of what's probably what we're about to transition into, we don't really have any football. This is the deadest point of football season.
It is.
And the only reason that there's even a football topic is because of everything off the field that has nothing to do with the game itself.
Hey, listen to this, though, real quick about Frank Gore. I'm starting from year 2.
Okay.
1695, 1102.
1695 rushing in year 2?
Yes.
Okay.
1120. 2010 in 11 games, 853, but 4.2 per carry.
Okay.
Next season, 1211, 1214, 1128, 1106, 967, 1025. This is in Indy. In Indy, 967, 1025, then 961. Miami, 720. Yeah. But from
he wasn't even the lead back with the Dolphins.
But from 2017, 2006 to 2017, if you put Frank Gore in your backfield, it's 1,000 yards.
Yeah. But that's why he's a Hall of Famer. He was never the best, but he was, you could argue, durable, consistent.
Yes.
Is durability and consistency does that not mean anything?
They say the best ability is availability.
It is. Parcells said that. Like, it's true. I mean, it's true. Like, this is why Tracy McGrady wasn't in the NBA 75. He wasn't fucking available. Like, Tracy McGrady had a 5 to 6 year prime of actual top tier basketball. The rest of his career, it starts off with him not really being a star, but being like a good young talent with Toronto. Then once he leaves Orlando, because he got hurt, I think, the last year in Orlando. He played like a year and a half healthy in Houston. Then he was never healthy. Like, that's what dinged him there. That's why a guy like Frank Gore has to be able to get,
You're right, man. We have to reward the high-end players who are healthy for a long period of time. They deserve that.
He's a quality player in the NFL for a very long time. And what helps him a little bit, too, is that he's the best running back in 49er history. So that is a championship-winning organization who's always in it. I guess they had that dark age while he was there, funny enough. But, 80s, 90s.
You know what?
2010s.
They're
in the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship a lot.
There's a 49ers running back who I really want to interview.
Which one?
Keith Henderson. Product of Cartersville, Georgia.
Okay.
Part of Georgia's Four Horsemen. Back in the, I want to say it's like late 80s, early 90s. And played with Rice in Montana.
So he was backing up, who was it? Ricky Waters? No? Who's the runner?
I don't know.
He's not a safety.
Right. I
think Ricky Waters was their star.
I've ran into him in the barbershop back home, and I've heard some amazing stories.
Yeah, Ricky Waters was the running back. That's what I thought. I was like, wasn't Ricky Waters their running back? But
I just want to get some of these stories on wax and tell his story because dog. He told me some funny 49er stories that I wish I could share. Do you want to talk about Kyrie or no? I know we've been football heavy, but we supposed to talk about
absolutely. Just because we still have the draft on, and even though somebody could have been making a selection for somebody, we have to look at this stuff. This stuff tells a lot. That's why with the Cavaliers, even just coming up right before they drafted, I said, if they draft a guard, I was like, that pretty much tells me that even though Colin is a Cavalier, if somebody sends a contract that isn't reasonable in their opinion, he's gone. They won't match anyone that probably pays him more than over $20 million a year.
Kemba got traded to the Pistons?
Who?
Kemba.
From the Knicks?
Yeah, the Knicks acquired Jalen Durant and moved him with Kemba to the Pistons. So Durant's with the Pistons.
He's fucking finished. Anyone that watched the Knicks game when he was actually playing before they shut him down knows that he's finished. Let me tell you, Sam Presti did Al Horford a solid by sitting him that 1 year with the Thunder. He did him a solid. He preserved his body so he could go back to Boston and be the impact player that he was. Fuck Al Horford. For them this year to get to that finals. He did him a solid. Kemba Walker's burned. He's burned out. And I cannot believe this. And I still have it as saved in my archives on Instagram. But Josh Holsey. Yes, you, Josh Holsey.
I'll call him.
We're at a Lakers game.
Okay.
In LA. And this man is sitting up trying to tell me that Kemba Walker this is when Kemba was in Charlotte.
Okay.
And I think he was right before he was getting ready to go to Boston. that
Yeah,
Kemba
that's
Walker
right.
was better than Kyrie Irving. And like I just couldn't believe it, bro.
He did not say that.
I was like, nigga, I will personally find this because
I'm
it's
calling
on
him.
my archive, and I'm almost certain
I'm calling him right
I
now.
put it up as a like poll question on my story once when polls were new.
Hey, Josh, you're on the pod. Did you really say that Kemba was better than Kyrie? You're on the pod, by the way. You're on the pod, Josh.
That's not what I said.
What did you say?
I said that they were comparable. I said that they were comparable. This was 5 years ago.
That's not what the fuck he said.
I said that is exactly what I said. I said that I think at the time we were debating top point guards in the league, and I said that after number 3, point guards 4 through 10 were all within a couple points of each other because none of them were all superstars at that point.
Oh,
and I forget who we said. I think we had like Steph, Dame, and someone else as like the top 3. And no, because I think the argument was that Kyrie's in that same 4 to 10 group.
You want to know? You want to know who it was?
Yeah,
I know who it was. It was Russ. Russell Westbrook was who we put 3rd.
Yeah, because this is on MVP Westbrook, and I think that was the argument was that everyone basically 4 to 10. If they're playing with, none of them are going to be the number 1 on a superstar team, and if they were to play on a team with a LeBron and whatever, they're all going to basically have the same output. And that was an argument. I did not say that Kemba was better. I said that Kemba might have been 8 in that 4 through 10. And the argument was just that Kyrie's not that much better, not that much been more beneficial to a team.
And you know what? As we sit here in 2022, what you said, I can get with. I know back then I would have disagreed because that's when I was saying, hey, there's not much of a difference between Steph and Kyrie Irving, and I was very wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, now that has aged a little bit poorer, but at the same time, when we look at it, Kyrie is still, bro. Kyrie's still about this extension that he is going to get, whether the Nets give it to him or not. He's still about to make $50 million a year, right? And so you don't just pay somebody $50 million.
But is he worth it?
No. Unless he's playing with LeBron.
Is his output, is his production worth that much money?
If he's not playing with LeBron, no.
Exactly.
I just don't think that he had enough time with the Nets for us to really get to form.
Yeah, he didn't get vaxxed like the rest
remember,
of us.
he was playing with James Harden too for the time when they actually were, I guess.
Hey, Parlay,
and
Parlay
also,
Pete, did you get vaxxed?
Also,
yeah, I got vaxxed.
Hey, Josh, did you get vaxxed?
I did.
I got vaxxed too because my job wanted me to get vaxxed, and for my life to be the best way, for it to be great, I need to get vaxxed. So that's why I got vaxxed. And if Kyrie cared about winning, he would have got vaxxed. And I'm not here to say that he was wrong for not getting vaxxed. I'm just saying that winning was not what he wanted to do on the first.
And I'll also throw out there to that same point, once again, I always thought Kyrie was better than Kemba. I just said that their production, once they're on the team, you're not winning a championship with either of them as the number 1 guy. They're just supporting whoever the star is, and their output isn't that far off for the 4 through 10 point guards. And I'll say that to that argument, I think it was right after we had this debate when Kyrie was leaving the Celtics and Kemba went to the Celtics. And the truth is, neither one of them could get it done with the Celtics. And the production was about the same team-wise, not player-wise.
There's a 2-year difference between it because I just had to look that up. Kemba just turned 32 in May. Kyrie just turned 30 in March.
Yeah, Kyrie's my age. Kemba has a bad knee. And that makes sense. But hey, Josh, thanks for actually answering for once. And we needed that.
I didn't know you were on the pod, but
yeah, I know. That's why I called you without texting you and giving you a warning. Because if I gave you a warning, you wouldn't have answered. We'll be in contact soon though, because we're planning Boink's bachelor party. He gave us our left and rights yesterday night.
Well, we've got a wish list of places, and San
we got
one.
Yeah, we got the places, and yeah, you're traveling east, buddy.
All right,
dog. We'll talk to you later.
All right, brother.
Yep. Josh, Josh is pissed.
He's up drinking, watching the draft.
Yeah, but he's pissed because he got thrown on the pod and he had to like talk.
Well, he had to tell us exactly how he felt. I'm gonna call bullshit on that, and not bullshit from a sense of the argument and the way that he just structured it, not being how it went.
Oh no, he gave you a 2022 version of what he said like 4 years ago.
This man told me that he would rather have Kemba Walker than Kyrie Irving. Maybe he wasn't saying that there was that big. Maybe he was saying like there's not that big of a difference, but he was saying that he would choose Kemba over Kyrie. And Kemba is now on team. Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Stop counting.
Exactly, and I get it. Kyrie's on team.
Yeah, but Kemba's knee doesn't
on
work.
Team 4.
Kemba's knee doesn't work.
Big difference between why they're on team 4.
Boston offered Kyrie a maximum contract. Michael Jordan said, "No, nigga, we're not giving you a super max. Stop it."
Basically, you're not a top 5 point guard, is what he told him. Basically, he said, "Hey man, I tell you what, you go to Boston, and we'll take Boston's point guard, Terry Rozier. He's younger, we can pay him less, and I bet we get just about the same amount of production and results that we would have out of you." And they did.
Yep,
for the most part.
I mean, because Boston was sitting there like, "Dang, bro, if we
just upgraded." And they knew that they weren't going to be able to keep signing Marcus Smart, like the young guy. Plus, they had already paid Al. Like, they weren't going to be able to retain all the young talent.
Well, Boston's probably sitting there today like, dang, if we would have just kept Terry, we would have been okay.
Yeah, they would have.
But Kyrie's creating chaos in Brooklyn. There's nothing different from what Kyrie does. Kyrie is a person who is more than an athlete, more than LeBron is. Like LeBron says, more than an athlete, because he's like, I'm an athlete first and I do all this other stuff. I think Kyrie is like, I do this other stuff and I'm also really good at basketball.
But what does Kyrie really do outside of hoop?
He's a deep thinker.
He clearly plays video games and gets on Twitch because that's what he's been doing all offseason, talking his shit.
Bro, I just think that Kyrie is one of those people who refuses to be defined by what people he like. Don't box me in. I'm not a basketball player. I just play basketball and I'm really good at it and I care about it. But don't diminish who I am because I play basketball.
Me as a basketball player,
right?
I'm a human.
Exactly. I mean, Kyrie's the person who said that we're born here, but we have to pay to live here, and I'm like, yeah, nigga, it's called capitalism. People are going to charge you for things you're entitled to.
It's called, and it's nothing wrong for him to question how that whole process began, but we know that there's not going to be an even playing field for anyone. We all came to this world where it was already made for what it's worth, in a sense of all that shit that happened so long ago. It had been changed, bro. And it's not to say, well, why is it that I have to pay for water when water is free? Because you're paying for motherfuckers to clean it, process it, send it to you. And it creates a job for somebody so that they can make their own money. Like there's so many different layers to what he was trying to say. And I really did get where he was questioning it. But
the question is okay for your brain and maybe your group text. It's not okay for Twitter, because once you ask that question to people who understand how life works, they go, well, hey, dog, it's a bunch of salt water in the ocean that we can't use. If we want to use that water for us, here's the process that it has to go through. Here's how much it costs for those parts. Here's how much it costs for that labor. Here's how much it costs for that time. Oh, you want that water you just flush down your toilet to come back through and it be clean enough for you to drink? Here's what it takes. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think we are set up in a place to where we pay for shit we shouldn't pay for, or we overpay for a lot of stuff? Yeah, absolutely. But we underpay for shit too. Like people.
And more importantly, you're set, my brother. Like,
yeah, I don't want to hear from you. 100
you're
million.
actually one of the few people in this world that's set.
Have you ever read the Leviathan?
No.
Okay, and I didn't expect you to. I'm a political science major, and I read it because it's like the basis of why we have government, and it's humans are naturally savages, just like any other animal out here, and we need
Structure.
societal constraints
We need
to make
structure.
us act right. We need structure, and that's why we have to pay for certain things. It's just part of the structuring. That's it.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is the beauty in us as humans. Everybody's path is different within it, in a
Mhm.
sense of we all follow the same structure. In a sense of you have to have a job, you know, uh, you've got to take care of yourself. You need to, go see a doctor. Like there are a lot of the similar things that are fixed into our lives that we all have to go through.
Well, no, we don't have to because if you listen
But
to Beyonce, you don't have to get a job. You can just quit that job.
according to her, and she's another one of these people she could say fuck Adidas if she really wanted to, because they've already paid her. So yeah, she could be like, fuck fuck y'all, I'm gonna just take my Ivy Park because I'm Beyonce and I'll just go to China myself and talk to the motherfuckers. And
Hey, here's what gets me with what Kyrie says with some of his like socially woke posts. Beyonce not telling people they ain't got to work in her song. And some of these like empowerment, do what makes sense for you as people.
yeah,
They're top 1%ers. When you're
literally.
a top 1%er, you can quit something because you are desired more than the things you actually desire. So you can go get a bag real quick. You got things that are making money for you.
Dave Chappelle is a prime example. He said, fuck you, Comedy Central. I'm going to Africa. And they said, okay, Dave, do that. And Dave really went and did it. And then he comes back and he's made way more than what he would have made if he did that. And he still stayed true to I'm going to assume his internal values.
But he's a top 1%er.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's why he could have afforded to have done it. He had already made plenty of money and had been making it before the Chappelle show. Like he was rich still.
And
Maybe he could have been a lot richer at the time, but he bet on himself too, and then he just knows that I don't have to do this.
And he was
That's why he can go to Africa for a few years.
And he was at the top of his industry when he did it. Like he had one of the best TV shows in the fucking country. So he's like, I can remake this whenever I want to under whatever constraints I need to. Like Comedy Central didn't give me a team of writers that made this great. I brought the team to Comedy Central and we made it work because if you know who worked on Chappelle's show and you see who Dave Chappelle's around now, it's the same people. But would you want Kyrie on your team?
Yeah, we talked about this briefly. I guess I brought it up because it was said on 929 The Game here. Yeah, and that's why I kind of like the DeJounte Murray aspect a little bit more if they're able to make that work. I really like that. I like that a little bit more. But in terms of if they were able to carve out a deal, make it a sign and trade, and get Kyrie, even though you'd be paying him $50 million a year, I'd absolutely love him playing with Trae Young. And as a Lakers fan, yes, I mean I know the results of a Kyrie and LeBron friendship / teammates, a connection there.
Yeah, it works.
Absolutely. Funny enough, now you'd have to figure out how you can get rid of Westbrook because you can't trade. Maybe you can trade Westbrook to Brooklyn, but obviously KD's gone at that point too. So like, ideally, even if it was a straight up swap, I would trade Anthony Davis for Kyrie Irving.
I would too,
It
especially
has to be a straight up deal, nothing else included.
So Nick Wright proposed AD and Russ for Ben and Kyrie.
I keep forgetting that Ben is on that team.
And then you just throw in whatever fluff you need there. And then Russ isn't expiring, that maybe you can move Russ at the deadline for something of value just to somebody who wants to get rid of some talent. Like, would you think about it?
KD wouldn't. The question would be, because the deal only works for Brooklyn to a degree if KD's okay with A, playing with Russ again, but then B, if he thinks that he can win with AD and Russ. Because you're basically swapping out and trying to say, okay, even though they're in the West and they're in the East, you're basically saying it could be a test of how good Kevin Durant is in a way, oddly enough. Because there was post Kobe LeBron, it's always been LeBron KD in terms of who's the best player in the NBA, right?
Yes.
So if you're basically trading your core players, your two and your three to him, and we know AD is good if he's healthy.
AD's better. AD's better than both of those two.
Better than at his healthy prime, yeah. I would take a healthy AD that's fully invested in playing basketball too. When that nigga just said that he hadn't picked up a ball since like April something, I was like, what? Like,
that's weird.
It is weird.
Like, but
considering
I think it was the reaction was a little OD, but it was weird. Like, dang, bro, you ain't shot or nothing. Like, I get taking the break. I like, you took a break, but nigga, you took a break the whole season.
Exactly.
Hey, shit, bro, we got to hit these football topics. And I know these are not smooth transitions. Gronk's retired. It means nothing to me. I'm happy to see him gone because he was in our division. I got to see him go crazy on the Falcons this past regular season. You skipped that game. I met you at Hooters and we almost got shot.
Well, we recall what your I'm guessing that's a shirt. Is that a long sleeve shirt or a sweatshirt?
Sweatshirt, man.
Okay. Looks a little thin.
Bro, I got it as a gift from the school. It wasn't even like some shit I like bought. It's thin.
It looks thin because that's why I was mistaken for a long sleeve shirt. But nonetheless,
I'm also beefing up though. I'm on my Jew and my Nico though. You know.
Yeah.
They the only niggas who lift weights.
Are you getting these stone mountains put between your head?
My wife tells me I am, but I don't see him yet.
Okay. Well, you keep building. Maybe you'll get to Jew and Nico's stature.
I doubt it.
These guys are pumping every day.
I'm
no days off.
I mean, I'm pumping 5 days a week, but I
think of a Reebok pump it shoe the way you're saying you're pumping. It's just
you talking about John Cena?
Yeah. But you're pumping. You know, the Reebok pump.
Yeah.
You just
he used to wear them with the big ass blue jean shorts and a throwback jersey.
Exactly. You just hear. It's tightening up your feet.
Hey, why is Gamble's so strong? Like, what's up with Gamble's like obsession with being so strong? That shit's weird.
And I believe every single number he threw in there. I really do. I do believe he's maxed at that stuff. I don't know. It's odd. That's why I was just like, well, damn. I was just like, Gambles, if you really wanted, you could just throw me in the dumpster, couldn't you? Like,
you know, I'm somebody who's lifting, and I care about my body. I want my body to look a certain way. I don't know my maxes. I'm not maxing ever again in my life. Like, as I get stronger, I'll increase weight. But y'all would never see me drop my stats, 5'11", 190, bench, 245, squat, 320, deadlift, I don't do it.
I ask myself, what would I need that stuff for? Like, when I think about it, and for me, yeah, because all the typical stuff that I would need to be strong for, like I hire movers when I move, but I help move too. Like I'm moving my shit too. So as long as I can make that process easier, if I can lift up my bed, take it apart and stuff, and be able to lift all the pieces, move it to where it needs to be moved until they get there, my couch, all that other shit. These are the weights that I like. I don't need this to fight anyone because for the most part, if a motherfucker like Galen was trying to fight me, I'm popping a cap in his ass. I'm not fucking fighting him. Like, we're not getting into a fight. Not because he'll necessarily whoop my ass, but more so of if I have to get to that point, I'm fucking shooting you anyways. Like,
dog, I make too much money to fight people.
I'm not fighting people. That's the point. Like, we're not getting into a fight. Like, if it's one of these things where we can't walk away from it, then clearly I need to shoot you.
No, we're talking it out and walking away.
Or I need to get a bat and fucking keep hitting. Like, there is no fighting.
The police are getting called, or your ass is getting shot. That's it.
Yeah, there is no. So I'm not lifting for that because I'm not training to be a boxer or an MMA fighter. So, like, I'm not doing it for that. And so, I mean, I'm with you. I don't think I would ever. I guess it's good to push yourself to the limit to see, but like outside of that, I can't really think of why you would want to do it. Like,
I'm trying to
increase it because at one point it will stop. You're not just going to keep going up. Like, one day it's going to stop, or you're just going to get disinterested because there's no way. Even the strongest man in the world. I mean, what does this get to? You're not a bodybuilder. Like, so what are we getting to? You know, what's the end game?
I just want to be able to outdrive Josh Holsey.
Well, yeah, and I guess, if you're golfing,
and that's more technique than actual pure strength. Like,
right, Tyler is not, or Bryson DeChambeau, and I know he's pretty bulky, but like he's a motherfucker that can hit that long ball, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing: I don't say outdrive. It's like beat Josh Holsey because he can outdrive me, but if I chip him and putt him to death, I still win. Like, I just care about
golfed.
Like,
How many times have you guys golfed
together?
Yeah,
we've never golfed together.
So you just know based on what he's told you.
Yeah, so we started playing regularly at the same time. Then I moved to Albany, and dog, it was 103 today. You think I'm about to go to a driving range today when I get off from work?
I went to a baseball game and sat in the fucking sun.
That's different. That's fun. Driving range ain't fun.
That shit was not fucking fun. I'm sitting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rusty. Like, I done changed my setup in here. Like, I got my putt. I done put my putting green down in the office. I got my chipping net set up so I can like work on little stuff while I'm here because I'm not working on my golf game right now. And I was gonna go play 18 Monday, and the earliest tee time, the best tee time I could get was 7 a.m. I'm like, dog, I'm hungover from Saturday. No, nigga, I'm not playing at 7 o'clock in the morning. Gronk retired. He's done. He's the best tight end ever. Who cares? Deshaun, he settled 20 of his 24 cases. I think that his team got some information on what the suspension is going to look like, and that's why he settled, because he was adamant about not settling. And I think that he got some type of information saying that, hey, here's your suspension range. So you can either, like, the sooner you close this shit out is the sooner this shit gets done. And I think he settled because of that. And the other 4 just want some more money.
Well, and more importantly, Jimmy's like, look, I'm paying for this. Ultimately, I'm the one that's really paying for this. And, we already have set you up to where this year you're not even going to take the financial hit because it's only $1 million that you're making in base salary. So you got your signing bonus as soon as you flew to Cleveland after you basically told Mr. Blank, thanks, but no thanks. Because we all know that's exactly what this came down to. He was
coming to Atlanta.
Fucking money. And he was like, oh.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
I will fight until the end of time because I know that he chose the Falcons. I know that it made too much goddamn sense. And then the fact that we came in as this random dark horse, and then it was basically supposedly down to us and the Saints. There was no way he was going to the Saints, even though they were better set up to win, like right now, I guess. There was just no way. Like, he could have – come on. He grew up watching Michael Vick too. Like,
He was
bro.
coming to the Falcons, and then the Browns said, "Hey, here's 230 guaranteed," and
What's up? And then he was like,
can't nobody turn that down.
he's just like, I'll meet y'all niggas in Cleveland.
Jay-Z might start back rapping, and somebody say, "Hey, here's 230."
Is
It's a
he
joke.
beyond that?
It's a joke. It's a
I know.
joke.
I was about to say he might be beyond that.
But with
Do you
Deshaun
think he's
settling,
around?
does that tell you anything? Does that like make you believe there's some level of guilt here that he's like admitting to? Or he just
No,
like fuck this, I'm rich, get
no,
something on my face.
because like you said, I think that they came to him and they let him know what the league said and that this was pretty much what it's going to be like. And for him, he's just like, man, I really just want this to go to bed. And so he figured you start talking, what? That's 5/6 of the people that accused him that he's already got taken care of. And he knows that the other 4 are pretty much the people that were talking, like the people that were on the HBO thing, the vocal ones, the very vocal ones, the ones that aren't anonymous, like
The ones who want a little bit more money, and I'm not saying that they aren't victims, and I'm not saying that they're not wrong. I'm not calling them wrong for doing what they're doing, but I feel like because they're the ones who went out on the ledge and made it bigger and bigger and really pressed it, they're not going to accept the first offer.
yeah. Well, and more importantly too, they it's like one fly I can hear. They
I understand it.
yeah, they know that now that that's like the floor offer.
Yeah.
Because now that 20 have accepted, there's no way that even once this is over that we don't get anything. So now we know we're millionaires. If you're giving them basically $1 million a piece, or what the original shit was like 100,000, I think they said, or something, 100 to 150. But like for them, they know that, well, there's no way that this ends and we don't get anything. So
we
know
take it to trial.
This is like the worst thing that can happen to us. I want you to break that bank open. Like,
exactly. And again, I'm not here saying that they are just extorting him for money.
Their victimhood is leverage.
Yes, but they are leveraging their victimhood in the best way possible. And I may come on this podcast and shit on people for leveraging their victimhood because I just think like morally and ethically it's wrong. But
because it looks like it's about the money and not just
your
being
victimhood.
wrong.
But at the same time, if you have an ability to make millions of dollars based on something that you have the like, you got the keys to that car, well, drive it. Like it makes. I ain't gonna say like, you know what I mean, like
that.
What, like if you gonna get paid 1.5, but you can talk him up to 3, why not get 3? Like you can't take back the events that happen and you're gonna get paid.
It would be the equivalent of knowing a trucking company hit you, and the policy is $5 million, but the attorneys come to your attorney and they say, all right, we're going to give you 1.5, even though we've already fully accepted, going to court. Everybody knows that our driver was, at fault in this situation, but you have the knowledge, that the policy that they have is a $5 million policy. And you're like, man, I could have died. My life is worth everything that y'all are willing that you can do. That's not ridiculous.
Right.
Especially with how much money you guys have, and then what you're not even paying for, your insurance is paying for it.
And that's what, and I'm so happy we've taken the approach with the Deshaun Watson piece because we haven't got into like innocence or guilt because we don't know. We think he has a weird kink. I think we can agree on that.
Oh no, there's no think. The brother has a fetish. Like clearly, he's got a fetish, and unfortunately for him, some guys just like fucking, and that's what they want to do. Some guys like toes. This brother, he likes being in a towel with oils and incense and Sade playing in the background, and they get to jerking. He likes getting jerked off. I mean,
Bruh,
it is what it is. Like,
I haven't listened to Sade since that night in San Diego that we won't talk about in the podcast.
what's understood doesn't have to be explained.
But hey, man, here's something that's crazy, and let's see if we can knock all this stuff out in 11 minutes. We got 3 more topics. I doubt it. The same internet that killed Drake is praising Beyonce, and that's crazy to me. Drake puts out a dance album with one like hip hop song, and everybody's killing it at first. They're like, "Oh, this is terrible. This ain't hip hop. What is Drake doing?" Then some of the bougie people actually started liking it, me being one of them, because I'm like, yo.
You don't like these light-skinned niggas.
Bro, it's not even that, but the music that Drake made, his album, I was just like, honestly, never mind. I go, bro, I didn't worked out to this type of music. And you know what I'm saying? My stats was looking real good. You know what I'm saying? Like Cleveland called me in to do some work. And they was like, hey, if you on the board, we drafting you type deal. You know what I mean? Like, so after I put myself in that mind, I go, bro, I can't hate this music. But the other people who can't relate, that's fine. Y'all hate it. But then the second Beyonce dropped it, oh my God, Queen Bee. I'm like, she out here telling y'all to quit y'all job. And y'all dummies gonna quit your job. And y'all gonna be broke because a billionaire told you to do something. And you go like, well, she knows because she bet on herself because she's good. You're not. You're average.
That was her leaving Destiny's Child, right? I mean, come on. But you want to know what I've noticed when it comes to why that happened? There's one distinctive reason to me.
Yes, sis.
Aside for her being a woman and her fan base essentially being nothing but women and gay men. Gay women. Well, women are women, so it doesn't matter if they're gay or not. Women and gay men. And I'm sure Drake, of course, has gay men fans too. Drake has fans. He's like spread out. I think it's one of those things where Drake is looked at as a culture vulture in general. And so it's like kind of like because everybody has clowned Drake because his last 3 albums do kind of sound the same, he finally does drop something completely different from anything that he's dropped, including his earlier stuff, just completely different. Even though he's made songs similar to this on his album, they'd be like one song on the album, but he has made songs kind of that are dance type. Right? Yeah, he's done it before, but now because he's fully invested and did it on an album, it was that's not you. Like this is different. Like, but with Beyonce, she's so innovative. She's so courageous. Basically, there is a lot of things that everybody can look at. And then Beyonce also hasn't dropped a solo album since Lemonade, and that was like 2016. So I think the idea of nobody hearing something and her prepping for an album and this just being a single made people get more excited about it. While with Drake just dropped the other shit in September of last year. So like, it hadn't even been a year since Drake's dropped an album.
Beyonce fans are the reason why NFTs sell. Bruh, Beyonce fans would pay to hear her fake moan on FaceTime sex with Jay-Z.
They pay to hear this bitch fart. Or let me not call her bitch. They pay to hear Beyonce fart.
I was gonna say that, but I felt like fake moan on FaceTime sex was funnier. But no, they would pay for her farts. They would pay for a picture of her wiping her ass because they don't believe that she shits. Huh?
They make it their ringtone too. It'd be doing the Crank That Soulja Boy type numbers for a ringtone.
No, I believe it. Like, dog.
I'm dead shit. Yeah. Like this.
If there
I'm
was
not even joking.
Bro, if there was an NFT of a Beyonce turd in a toilet, how much do you think it would go for?
Depends on how rich her biggest fan is. But I'm sure that a group of people would pay to they can all own it. Because that's what Beyonce fans do. They come together. You know,
come together,
all in the name of the bee
right now.
Queen Bee.
over B. But nah,
The Miami Heat just drafted Nikola Jokovic, by the way, from Serbia.
that's funny.
I swear to God, that's his name. And they
You know
just
what?
used Nikola Jokovic.
We're gonna stay here because these last two topics we can bring them back next week because they're actually not dated topics.
Okay.
Um, yeah, this was fun. Beyonce fans are stupid. Not because they're fans of Beyonce, but because they go so hard for Beyonce and they act like she does no wrong. Like, yo,
Well, they act,
Beyonce been to Dr. Miami too.
well, they act like they know her. Oh, that would really stir them up. Don't put that out for the internet.
I won't make that a clip, but like she'd have been to somebody. But no, they act like they know her and they be like, oh, B would never. Beyonce doesn't even do interviews. You know nothing about her. She
Internet-
make music and go away. She don't talk.
That fan base, along with other ones, like there's other ones too, but like that fan base specifically, it's made up of people that live in front of a computer, and not because they're on Microsoft Word or Excel doing work, but because they don't have anything better to do, and they're living in their parents' basement, or they've got 4 girlfriends that they live with, or they're hobosexuals. These are the type of people that have time to sit up and search the web, just get on Twitter and search anyone that says anything negative about Beyonce so that they can put it up and say, hey, y'all, look what this hating ass bitch said. Let's get her. Let's get her. Like type shit. Like that's like it's weird. It's like this cult. It is like a cult.
Nah, it's a cult. Nah, the Beehive is a cult because it's really like, bruh.
He just doesn't necessarily like. She loves her fans, which I guess most people who get money from people are gonna love them. I'd love my shareholders too if they kept investing in me.
But at some point, you know what? I think people like Beyonce allow her fans to weaponize their fandom, and that's not okay. You should have some level of restraint and like, hey, fans, stop attacking these people. I don't care that they don't like this. They listen to it. I already got paid. Like these people be ready to die for somebody bro, it goes to the other topic I really wanted to do, but we'll do it later. But they be ready to like fight over somebody who doesn't care about them as long as they're spending their money.
And that's exactly what it is. Look, we could be the biggest Falcons fans. We give the Falcons money. And, you know, being a fan, you stick through. Now, granted, these people, like Beyonce's not a scandalous person, or at least it's not portrayed that she is, if she really is.
We'll never know.
Right, we would never know. And she has enough money to where that could never get out. Unless something just really odd happens and someone captures it. You know, the biggest thing she's got is that she was wronged by Jay-Z because he cheated on her. Like, that is like the thing, which that might not even have actually happened crazy enough. But nonetheless.
Hey, what if she was a shitty wife?
Like, we never found out who Becky with the good hair is. Like, that is somehow never leaked. Hey, non-disclosures. But
hey, Parlay Pete, what if she was a bad wife and she didn't make him happy and he voiced his frustrations and she wouldn't change her actions and he stepped out because he was just not happy?
That's a very possible too. That's typically how that stuff happens. You know, I mean, some niggas just ain't shit, but like, I know that for me, I'm the type of person, and I hope that this isn't a clip that, you know, somebody's listening and they end up cutting it and coming back and bringing it up one day, but because that's just the way that our internet works. But I'm the type of person where I'm a firm believer in having a girlfriend and things like that to build to get to the point of marriage. But at the same time, to me, you're just not married till you're married. And so if you feel that strongly about somebody, you probably should marry them. And as far as I'm concerned, I would never step out like on my wife. Like I would never do that. But I just get a divorce if it got that. I mean, but I've never been put in that situation. So
right. As somebody, I'll be with you. Somebody who's married, there's something great about going to bed every night next to your wife with peace of mind. Like knowing that if your phone rings whatever that ring is, whatever that text is that pops up in your notifications, you can be like, I don't know where that bitch. She's crazy. That I, I did not ask for this attention. Like, we can talk about it. You can be upset about it. I'm okay with you being upset about it because low key, like, I'm bothered that this person is reaching out to me.
Knowing
Like,
what they know.
yeah, but like going to bed with that peace of mind, knowing that I'm doing right by my significant other, yo, that's something. But like you get to stepping out. that shit that shit not even that you did something wrong, but if you did like the notification isn't what you did, but knowing that you did something wrong in the back of your head. And again, I haven't lived that as a married man, but like not having peace of mind and being afraid to like look at your phone in front of your partner, that's probably yeah.
Yeah, and
That
that's
ain't how you trying to live.
gonna weigh on you. Like, let alone trying to hide it. Like, it just feels like it naturally comes out, even if you don't say it. It will naturally come out because you know it's wrong, and like you know, like it's uncomfortable for you because at that point, it's either going to cause a dilemma in a sense of either I actually do like this and I think I've made a terrible mistake and I probably shouldn't be married, or you do want to be married and you realize you made a mistake, but you also don't want to put that hurt on your significant other because you know you messed up. And then from there, it opens up the door of obviously not only having to deal with that, but then at the same time, let's say that there is a separation or a break, then you don't know what she's doing, and then it hurts you even more. And all because it's self-inflicted.
Or is if you did this, well, what else have you done?
That too. And then there's the idea of, and let's just say it really was one mistake.
Yeah, it was like, hold on.
Fuck them either. You could have simply gave the impression that you were single, and who knows, maybe even slipped up and just kissed someone. Like, it could be just as simple as that.
It ain't got to be that deep. It can just be just inappropriate messages, and the impression is that you're ready to get active, and you may just be talking shit, and you ain't ready to get active. But now, when you go hang out with the fellas, it goes, oh, so who there? And you give the roster, and then like a story gets saying, oh, well, I saw this and this. So why didn't you say, oh, because when I text you, that wasn't happening. And then I wasn't going to stop what I was doing to like update you on who showed up. And like, it wasn't, I see what you thinking, but it wasn't that. It was just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you just set yourself up to have hard conversations that.
Because the trust is gone.
Exactly. And you don't want to have that shit because like now you got to prove what you're doing every time you're doing something that's like routine. Like, oh, I had to work late today. Sorry I didn't text you to say, hey, I had to work late today because I was working and I didn't have time to text you.
All right. Well, then what do you have time to do since you didn't have time to text me? Like, I mean, and I'm sorry. I was really, there's stuff I live it. Stuff that you got to get done. Like, you know what I mean? And I really do. There'll be times, bro, where I'm working and I don't necessarily owe it to anyone, but I could get a phone call, a text from anyone. And like, I'm just like hell bent on getting accomplished what I need to get accomplished, because if I do stop, it not only breaks my concentration, and I'm a grown ass man, like I should be able to get my concentration back together. But like at the same time, no,
yourself.
That's what I got to get finished, and then I can handle this stuff. Because unless somebody is dying, basically, or something happened to like my daughter, like, you know, like there's very little things I'm just gonna complete if I'm in the midst of, because at the end of the day, what I'm doing is important because this is how I'm able to do everything else. Like, this is why I'm able to do all these things. Like,
dog, one of the reasons why I'm rarely like active in our group text during the day. I don't have service. I don't have service at work. Like, not even that I'm working. I don't have service at work. And there's one guy whose hotspot I link up to, but he doesn't always have it on. So if his hotspot's not on, I will respond when I have service, because I'm busy doing work.
Right.
But with y'all, it doesn't matter. But again, with my wife, I don't have that issue because she can't text at work because of the nature of her job. So it's understood. Like, hey, nigga, I'll talk to you when we get off.
Right.
But if there were some crazy trust problems going on, and then she sends a text at like 11, and I don't respond until 1:30 because I saw it, but then I didn't send it and it's not delivered. I'm not gonna go outside every time to deliver a text because then I got to stay out there and wait on a response. And like, bro,
Yeah.
I'm busy. I'm working,
Right.
keeping these lights on.
Right. And that was kind of just my point in that. And just in general, like if I'm in the midst of work, like even for me, I think a lot of people, because of how I kind of live my life and just the way that people view it, some people really do forget that I run an entire company. And not only do I work for the people like that work for me, I work for the people that cut me the check and cut them a check. I'm having to please everybody.
Bro.
And because literally that's why it's a 3PL. I'm the middleman. Like, so,
dog, and that's one of the,
and
that's
all
one,
the liability is on me.
and that's one of the reasons why you don't get calls from me until like after 7 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like if it's text without if I text you something at 12 o'clock, I'm not expecting a response until 7.
And trust me, there will be times where I'm not even busy in the office, but like, and that's typically later in the week. The only things I have to deal with later in the week, kind of like pre-production, what I was talking about with the guy that texted me from California, you know, he's somebody I mailed a check to, like, and they're on the West Coast, so their time's different too. And I'm a 24-hour guy. I'm an open book, you know, especially for this stuff. This is important. This man needs to be paid. He did his work. He needs to be paid. Like, that's important to me. And so I want to do everything that I can. Now, it's going to be within what's got to happen. That's why, look, it ain't my fault, bro, that you gave the wrong address.
Right.
So you're going to have to pay for that mistake. But I'll be sure to make sure I make it right regardless, you know? And so, like.
But, I mean, but you know, and you understand like what I do, and we don't talk about it on here, but it's one of those jobs where my phone can't go dead. And I be going on D&D, but like there are certain people if they call me, it's gonna come through because
you got them in your favorites.
I got to be available because guess what? I've gotten a call from my boss before at like 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning saying, "Hey, this happened. I need an update." And I'm like, I'm hungover. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I got 5 missed calls from other people with the answer. Let me call you back in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? But like, it's one of those things where like people be like, people get on me because I'm like, yo, why is your phone on 5%, bro? You're 30. Charge that shit up. Like your phone should never be that close to dead. Your phone is the only thing that links you to people.
You gotta get one of these, brother, if you don't have one.
I don't have one, but I'm always close to my car with a car charger, and I usually have my laptop on me with chargers.
Get one of these. I swear, it's crazy. Justice got this for it's either Christmas or my birthday this past year.
Oh shit, bro! I got a piece so bad. We gotta finish this like now.
Okay, get one of these. Is all I'm saying. They're great. They're actually better. They charge faster than any charger I have. Seriously,
bro. I used to have a portable charger, and it was better than my regular charger.
Yeah.
They need to sponsor us. I don't know when I'm getting back up there, but I gotta get to the city, man. Miss you, dog.
Let me see. I miss you too, brother. I'm trying to think. Let me look at this. Hold on. When would be the best time? So I'm not going to be here next weekend. That's actually so that's another thing for the podcast. Either we need to do it when I'm going to be in LA on Thursday. Now I don't mind doing it there because outside of work, I'm trying to think what time it will be. So we typically try and be.
When are you flying? We can record Wednesday, but it has to be Wednesday evening because I'm flying to Michigan Monday and I won't be back until Wednesday evening.
What time Wednesday?
Like 4:30. I'll be back in by 4:30.
Perfectly fine for Wednesday then.
Okay, we'll go Wednesday next week.
That sounds good to me.
All right, dog. Like, yeah, my stomach's killing me. I gotta go pee.
You get it done. Another great show. Take care, brother.
All right, dog. I'll let you.